You're listening to the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast, the only show 100% dedicated to highlighting women in all areas of the pet industry. I'm your host and the founder of Wear, Wag, Repeat, Tori Mystic. In today's episode, I am excited to share with you some strategies that I have personally been implementing in my business over the past month. These strategies have saved me so much time and they have freed up so much mental space for me. I highly recommend that you listen to this episode, take some notes, and implement this stuff right away. Our goal is inbox zero-ish. So we don't necessarily need to aim for perfection with inbox zero, but I think inbox zero-ish is a really good goal. And I'll tell you why. Getting to zero means that you are spending so much time in your inbox trying to achieve that perfection of having zero new messages at all times. I think sometimes organizing stuff into folders and having a few unread things in certain folders is totally fine. And I'm recording this episode, if you're watching on YouTube, Burt is sitting right next to me and he looks totally silly because he is wearing a too tight jacket. He poor boy was feeling a little bit itchy, and my friend suggested, why don't you put him in a thunder shirt? But I don't have a thunder shirt. But what I did have is a slightly small dog jacket that I have put him in. So I'm very resourceful with my dog solutions and also with my email inbox solutions. So if you're not watching this episode yet on YouTube, you got to go check it out. Make sure you subscribe to my channel while you're there because I'm really trying to grow my YouTube presence this year. So I appreciate all your support and help with that. But let's get back on track, get back on topic, and talk about your email inbox. So there's a few things I'm going to share with you today. And I've been doing all these things myself. So I'm speaking from experience here. And I think this could help any kind of pet business. So no matter what kind of pet business you have, these steps and these strategies are going to help you save time so that you can actually focus on the things you want to do in your business or potentially spend more time with your own pets, which I know is my top priority. So the few things I'm going to share with you are how to organize your inbox into folders, how to limit yourself to only checking your email at certain times of the day, and then finally, the power of templates. So starting off, the first thing I want to talk about is these pet business folder system. If you use Gmail, which is what I use, there are all kinds of capabilities that I think we're not really tapping into. But you can create something that they call labels, but they're basically folders, and they would show up on the left-hand side of your Gmail screen. And I've set up a bunch of different folders there for myself. I have specific folders for certain clients. If I have any kind of monthly retainer clients, I'll create a folder just for them so that I know their messages are going in there and not getting lost in the shuffle of my inbox. I've also created folders to keep me organized about people who are trying to pitch themselves to be a guest on my podcast or pitch me to do some sort of influencer stuff for them or a guest post or something like that. But if you really are looking to simplify this, there's really 4 folders that I would recommend that you create if you haven't already done something like this. And those would be urgent, and then client stuff, read later, and importantly, receipts. So in Gmail, you can set up filters and have all kinds of messages automatically go to these different folders, automatically get these labels, as Gmail calls it. And I would really recommend that you figure out, who are your clients that you're helping with, your customers, different people that you're dealing with on a regular basis, and filter all of those messages to go to client stuff. You can also manually go through and drag things to different folders. So if something really needs to get done, you could put it in urgent. And then if it's stuff that's like a email newsletter or a promotion or something that just doesn't require urgent action, you can always put it in the read later folder or automatically label it as read later. Now, the bonus folder that I've included here is receipts. If you are a small business owner, you know that you need to stay on top of your expenses and how often you're getting charged and what you're getting charged for different services. I know I'm always signing up for some sort of new tool or software or something, and I don't realize that it's billing me every single month. And sometimes those receipts and those invoices from these billings can get kind of lost in the shuffle of your inbox. So I created a special folder that's just called receipts. And it was really easy for me to set up a filter in Gmail because most things that are a receipt or something that you paid for have similar words in the subject line. So it would say invoice or receipt or you've paid or whatever it is. You can look in your email at other receipts that you've gotten for stuff and kind of see what the common words are. And I automatically set up a filter that all of those messages automatically go to a folder called receipts. So I can go in there when I see that there's new unread messages in there. I know that I have been billed or charged for something, and I can go in there and see exactly what it is. And if it's something that I need to cancel, I can immediately take care of that. It's no longer getting lost in the shuffle of my inbox. Now, I did a similar thing. I created a lot more folders than just these 4 basic ones, but I also created a folder that was really practical for me called Low Value Outreach. And for me, I get so many emails from companies that are asking me to do some sort of a guest post on their site, or they want to put a guest post on my site, or they want me to review their product, but they're only offering to gift me with some like $5 product or something. So these are low value outreach things. It might be a company that's sending me a press release or something like that. Things that to me are not super valuable to me, but they're maybe valuable to the person who is sending it. So I put these in my low value outreach folder. And I did a lot of kind of sleuthing around in my inbox to see what are some common words that appear in the subject lines or in the body of the emails of these low value to me messages. And I set up some filters in Gmail so those messages automatically go to this labeled folder called low value outreach. And that is the number one thing that has saved me so much stress and just like mental space. I used to be so overwhelmed every time I opened up my Gmail because I was just getting blasted from every angle with companies saying, do this for me for free, feature my thing, I'm not going to pay you anything, here's our press release, talk about us, and there's really not much in it for you. And I just felt like my email was full of people wanting to take and ask and get things from me constantly. And it actually was really demoralizing and it was affecting me emotionally. I know that email, your emails shouldn't affect you emotionally, but it did. So if you can relate to this at all, sometimes we hear the advice about if you are on social media and you see an account that makes you feel self-conscious or makes you feel bad, that you should hide that account or unfollow that account on the spot. That's great advice. But what about your inbox? So these constant requests that were asking me to basically do favors for everyone, it was making me feel like people didn't value my time or my work. And so that's why I called them low value outreach. And I filtered them all to this folder. And occasionally, a couple times a week, I'll look in that folder and see what kind of low value opportunities people are pitching to me. And if I don't see anything that's very appealing, I will just delete them all. So this brings me to my second step of this process of getting to inbox zero-ish. So how often do you check your emails? Because I think a lot of us are inclined to check our emails 50 times a day. I mean, you have it on your phone, you have it on your computer, maybe you have an iPad or something, and we're checking our emails all the time. Maybe you're even checking it on some sort of a smartwatch device. I don't have any smartwatches because I think I spend enough time on screens and on technology. But if you do, you're getting bombarded in even an additional place with all of your emails and messages and all kinds of work stuff. So I suggest that you limit how many times a day you check your emails. And sometimes when I feel like I am losing control and I'm checking my email 50 times a day, I will actually delete the app from my phone to resist the temptation entirely. That means I have to go on my computer to check my emails. And you know what, guys? It's not the end of the world. If you don't check your email 50 times a day, probably nothing bad is going to happen. Now, you might be in a certain phase of your business, a launch or a promotion or something like that, where you do need to check your emails constantly throughout the day if you have something really big going on. But that's probably 1% of the time. The rest of the time, I think it is perfectly safe to check your email in the morning and then check it again mid-afternoon, like around 3 p.m. is usually what I do. And some days it might take me 5 or 10 minutes to check my email, and some other days it might take me over an hour to check my email because it requires a lot of replies and thought to go into everything that I'm doing. So that's tip number 2, is to limit how many times you're checking your email inbox. And when you are in there, like I mentioned, checking my low value outreach folder, I just delete things. I've decided not to leave things in there collecting dust. I'm kind of like decluttering my email inbox. So periodically I'll go in and I'll just hit delete on all of those messages in there because I don't really need them necessarily. Are you okay, Burt? He's a little bit out of sorts today. And he's sitting right next to me on my couch, keeping me company. Okay, all right, Burt, what is step number 3 that we want to share with everyone today? This is the power of templates. So like I just said, some days it takes me 5 minutes to check my email. Some days it takes me an hour to check my email. A lot of times when it takes a long time, it's because I'm replying and I have to handwrite all of my replies to people. So I recently thought, what if I had some canned template responses that I could use over and over again? So I worked with AI to help me craft some of these templated messages, and I thought they were pretty smart and strategic in some cases. Like if someone is pitching a podcast guest to me, but that podcast guest is in no way, shape, or form a good fit for my show, I have a templated response that says something along the lines of, "Thank you so much for your inquiry. But if you have listened to my show, you would know that this dude who's the CEO of a healthcare system is not a good fit for the Wear, Wag, Repeat podcast. If you would like to subscribe to the show or leave a review, I am interested in this type of guest." And I would tell them, I'm interested in women in the pet industry. If you have any clients who fit that description in the future, you should totally reach back out to me. And also, by the way, I always give top priority to people who leave reviews and are actively engaging and listening to my show. So AI helped me write that email, and I set it up as a template in Gmail. So now when I get those bad podcast pitches, I can automatically reply to them. And oftentimes they're PR people who might have other clients and other people they work with who could be a good fit. And at the very least, it also just reinforces and reiterates what my brand is about, what my show is about. It shows people that I am graciously declining their offer to have some guy named Brad on my podcast because it's just not a good fit. So you can write these templated emails for all kinds of things, for new inquiries, for client onboarding, for thank yous, for requesting reviews, for declining an invite or an offer. And as a matter of fact, if you want access to all of these templates, you're like, I never know what to say. Well, guess what? I already wrote them all for you, but they're in Wear, Wag, Repeat Society. So this month, I just added a new resource to my membership, Wear, Wag, Repeat Society, and it's all about how to save hours in your email inbox every single week. And it includes templates for all those things that I just told you about. So you can come in and grab the templates, make them customized for you and your business. And I show you step by step how to set them up in Gmail as a templated response. In that resource, I also have other tips about this filtering. I show you exactly step by step how to set up filters and labels in Gmail, and other ideas for how you can save time in your email inbox. So just to kind of recap what we've discussed in this episode, we have the idea to simplify your folders. So in addition to that primary promotions and social media that Gmail automatically gives you, you can set up pretty much an unlimited list of labels and folders, but I encourage you to try to edit down your list. So it's just maybe like 4 or 5 main folders for your clients, for urgent things, for stuff to read later, and for receipts, which I think is a really great idea. We also talked about setting boundaries with your email hours. So I understand there might be times when you need to check your email constantly, but most of the time, it's totally fine to check your email once in the morning and once mid-afternoon and spend whatever time you need in there replying to people. And speaking of, you can use those templates to automatically reply to people who are asking you the same thing over and over again. So if you want to get your hands on these templates that I'm talking about and different email tricks and systems and automations that I use to save so much time in my business, I run this whole show by myself. Not just this podcast. When I say this whole show, I mean like all of Wear, Wag, Repeat. It's just me doing all of this. So I really rely on systems and automations to make it all happen. And I share everything that I do in Wear, Wag, Repeat Society. So if you want to join us, it's wearwagrepeat.com/society. And you can join right now to lock in the current rate because I am going to increase the price on June 1st. I haven't touched the price of my membership in over a year, maybe even close to 2 years. So it is time, my friends, to increase the price on that. There's just so much value being added every single month. I'm not just raising prices to raise prices. It's because there's so much value in there in our Petpreneur resource library. And also every week now you get one-on-one access to me. I have weekly office hours every Thursday where my members get to send me messages on Voxer and I send them back personalized feedback and ideas and responses every single Thursday morning. So with this new kind of personalized feedback element, I think it's time to raise the prices a little bit in my membership. So join now. You can lock in the current rate and you'll be at that rate for as long as you are a member. And there's also plenty of time still if you want to do the 2-week trial. So there's a 2-week trial. It's just $24 for 2 weeks. I mean, you can't beat that. And you can sign up at wearwagrepeat.com/society. You will get access to everything that's included in the membership, plus a one-on-one coffee chat to welcome you to the membership. So every new member gets this welcome coffee chat. And I really look forward to you joining and signing up for one of those coffee chats so I can get to know you and your pet business a little bit better. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and for Burt, who's just like not really feeling himself today. Poor Burt. But he is sitting behind me on my couch in my office if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, I want you to go implement what I talked about in your inbox. Go delete like 100 emails if you can. I give you permission to do that because remember, you're building a pet biz, not an email inbox babysitting business. So we want to get rid of the emails that you don't need so you can focus on just the work that is really going to serve you and help you grow your pet business. So I'll see you back here for another fresh episode next Wednesday.